Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, and you are here for a sub-podcast of the It's All Good show. This one is focused on advanced healing tools, one of my absolute favorite topics. And I have a return guest, not that she's been on this particular podcast, but she's been on the DMT Chronicles. We had a lovely conversation. And when I found out the different work that she does, I said, oh, you've got to come back and be on advanced healing tools. So Heather Zimmerman, welcome to the It's All Good show. Again, you're turning into a bit of a regular. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here again.
This is fun. And you are, so you're out of Washington State, you're outside of Spokane, just to kind of lay the groundwork. You are an energy healer, you're a channel, you are a spiritual empowerment coach, and you just returned from Stonehenge, which I find fascinating, having been there myself. And let's just get started with that. You went to England to just have the experience and to be at Stonehenge. You want to tell us a little bit about that trip before we dive into your expertise?
Sure. Absolutely. So I went there to see Stonehenge, and I discovered that there's a lot more to that area than just Stonehenge, which, by the way, is a lot smaller in real life than I was expecting. I thought it would be much bigger based on how they show it on TV. But I got to go to a bunch of different places. The energy there was just amazing, because a lot of those locations are on ley lines. So the energy was just awesome. And I had a really good time. There was some fairy activity, and I don't know, it was really cool.
Fabulous. Now, years ago, I went to Stonehenge. I was telling you before the show, and I just about got arrested for touching one of the stones. God forbid you touch these stones that are really ancient. You might do something to it. But it was really powerful, energetic. Did you get to do some ceremony, or you just, in your experience, you just go and you sort of tap in, or was there any particular ceremony that you did you want to share with us?
Well, it's interesting because my partner was there before me, and he got to go for the winter solstice ritual that they do, and they actually let them all go in and touch the stones and be within. And so it's funny that you almost got arrested for that, but they can do that for the rituals, whatever.
Right.
But I did not get to do that. I just did meditation and stuff that I normally do when I go to sacred sites like that. And it was just me and my partner, and very low key, as far as how many people were there. The energy was strong, but it was very interesting because I thought it would be much more high energy, but I found that the energy in England was much more older and more like you needed patience to be able to connect with it, and it was very slow. It was very strong still, but it was just very slow moving, and it was just a stark contrast to some of the other sites, sacred sites that I've been to. But it was a lot of fun. It was definitely an experience.
Now, last year you made your way to Egypt. Also, tell us. I'm just fascinated with travel and everything. So I'm like, I want to hear a little bit about Egypt before we get into everything. So, what was Egypt like for you? Was it your first time?
It was my first time. I was there for 2 weeks. That was quite different than England. It was a very strong, in your face energy. Like it knew you were there. It wanted you to know that it was there. We were there in September, so it was just a few months ago. And we woke things up. Like our group that we were with, people started channeling, they started singing. Somebody started singing Hathor's song. I didn't even know what it was. Like we woke a lot of stuff up, and we're actually getting ready to host our own trip, and we're going to be doing that this September coming up. So we still have spots open. If anybody's interested in learning more, I can give you the link for that too. But the experience in Egypt was just life-changing. Absolutely life-changing.
Yeah, I was in, going to date myself here a little bit. I was at the pyramids of Giza in Egypt in 1981.
Wow.
So a little while ago. I imagine it's super beautiful. We're planning on going to Egypt next year for a total solar eclipse. We're eclipse chasers this year. We're going to Iceland, but super excited to get back. And a recent guest of mine, also a repeat, I was going to say offender, but a repeat guest of mine, just got
Same
back
difference.
from Egypt also. And so it's, seems to be sort of the calling, to be going around and going to these places and tapping into the energies. I've always said that, I always feel like I'm gathering from there, but then also leaving some energies, like activating what I'm to activate there and then getting activated by what I'm needing from there. Did you go in the King's Chamber in
Yeah.
Egypt and do all of that?
Yeah, my partner and I went a couple days early, so we got to go in and we went right when they opened. So we actually were in there by ourselves, which is pretty unheard of. But at the end of the 2 weeks, we went in for a 2 hour meditation. And that's when things were being activated for the whole group. And someone started channeling Hathor's song. And we had that whole pyramid rocking. Like it was nuts because they're resonance chambers too. So that sound just amplifies, and
Right.
it was a very intense experience. Even people who aren't spiritual, who were just there like, I just want to see the things, or my wife is spiritual, whatever, everybody had an experience, and that was really cool too.
So you went on someone else's tour. Was it a, metaphysically based thing or just a nice tour going to Egypt?
It was metaphysically based, but it was not as intense as it was meant. It wasn't meant to be as intense as it did end up being, just because of the group that we had. It was more of, here's the history, here's what it has to do with what I've heard, because it was people who do QHHT that actually hosted the event, the trip that we went on.
Now,
So it
for
was like,
people that
here's,
don't know, what is QH?
sorry, it's quantum hypnosis. My mind just went blank. Quantum hypnosis healing therapy. There we go, mouthful. But it's basically past life regression therapy, where you visit past lives and you get to relive them and kind of heal those wounds that are attached to it. So one of the ladies that hosted the retreat, she had just written a book about the Egyptian stories that she had heard through these sessions. So that was kind of why they were hosting the trip. So it was a lot of like past life stuff, but not more. She did host some meditations while we were there, but it was not meant to be as crazy and intense and energetic as it was. She said that the things that happened on our trip don't normally happen on the trips that they host. So it was
Oh,
kind of
wow.
special. And
That's
yeah,
awesome. Are you a practitioner of that particular modality?
I'm not. I
Okay.
have participated. I did have a QHHT from a friend of mine named Jen, but I don't do that modality myself. Maybe one day, but
Now, do you do past life regression just in general?
we talk about it. I do a lot of inner child healing from this lifetime, but I still do like a very meditative trance-like state for clients who are open to that. And sometimes other things from past lives can come through. It all depends on what the higher self wants them to know.
Right.
So the process is similar, but I try to stick with just this lifetime. Um, but it has popped up in the past.
Now, as far as energy healing goes, your specialty, if we were to call it that, is really working with the inner child. Is that right?
That's my main specialty, yeah.
Okay.
I Go ahead.
So I just want to ask, we all have these very interesting paths into our different healing modalities that we're drawn to and everything else. And they always say that, or it's been said, like what you're teaching is what you actually need. Is that your cat?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
that's awesome. No, it's we big on animals here. Oh, look how sweet. Okay. So they say that, a lot of what we're teaching is what we actually need. So I just want to go back a little bit and then we'll come back to your inner child work and everything else exciting that you do. How did you find your way into energy work and this whole kind of world? Were you naturally from your parents or just found it on your own? What's your story?
So, um, this will kind of tie into why I do inner child healing as well. But I had a very rough upbringing. I know a lot of people say that, but I went through a lot of trauma. I went through a lot of bullying, sexual abuse, moving around a lot, being a military brat, being, poor, all kinds of things. So growing up was rough. But I lived in a haunted house when I was in middle school, and that kind of got me questioning things. And I was also an empath, so I felt everyone's emotions, didn't know what was going on. It was a very tumultuous time for me, especially as a teenager, because I had no idea what was happening. So I turned my emotions off for a long time, started becoming someone that I didn't recognize, that I didn't like. Um, and when I decided to change my life, I was in addiction. I was drinking all the time. I was bartending. So my life, I didn't think I would make it to 30 for a long time. We'll just leave it at that. But when I decided to change my life, I went down this rabbit hole of first I found Buddhism because I was like, there has to be more to this. This isn't all there is. There has to be more. And I know there is because I've had experiences with the other side before. Um, but what makes sense to me? Organized religion did not make sense to me. So I found Buddhism, and then that took me through this whole experience of learning about the chakras and energy and just everything kind of layered upon each other. And it took me into this whole new world, this whole spiritual world. And I found out that not only could I learn how to become a medium and speak to the other side, which was my ultimate goal, but there were all these other things, energy healing, channeling, and accessing your higher self, like all of these different modalities to kind of better who you are and make, your life worth living. Basically at that point, that's where I was at. So I learned about a lot of this. I also have a master's degree in psychology, so the brain is fascinating as it is, but when you add the spiritual aspect to it and you see how much science and the spiritual world really kind of interconnect, it really kind of brings it all home for me as well.
All right. And so the inner child work, was that kind of the first focus or priority in your offerings as far as energy healing goes?
Well, my education is to be kind of a therapist, so I started with one-on-one sessions, just kind of coaching people and figuring out what their issues were, what their blocks were, and kind of what process to kind of go through to heal those and to move forward. And then I just kind of found out with working through my partner how good I was at inner child healing because I helped him through his, I did my own, and it just kind of clicked and it seemed very natural. So that's where I focused my direction after that.
Okay. And so what other type of energy healing do you practice or are you well versed in before we jump into your other specialties?
Sure. So I do a lot of shamanic energy healing as well, which is um, what a lot of the Native American and like Peru, places like that, they're medicine men, if you want to call it that. They're healers, however you want to say it, because everybody has a different name, and I don't want to offend anyone either. But the very natural way for me to do that, because I had a past life as a shamanic healer in a Native American culture. So working with plant medicines, working with soul retrieval, going to the tree of life and figuring out how to work with things that are blocking people's energies and actually going in. It's kind of like we talked about on the DMT show where you have these experiences. A lot of people, when they do these plant medicines, they go within, they see these things, they travel to a different world basically. And a lot of that is very similar to how the shamans kind of do their energy healing. So I kind of take a little bit of all of that work for me and kind of make it my own healing modality. But there are definitely pieces of that resonate with me for sure.
Okay. Now, when did you figure out or identify that you could channel?
I have been channeling for quite a long time. It started with um, automatic writing, where I would just write things, and it was kind of like writing a journal, but you're hearing the information and writing it out. And when I say hear the information, the thing about energy and channeling and automatic writing and mediumship, whatever you want to call it, because it's all kind of the same thing, you're receiving energy and your body has to interpret it in a way that it can understand. So when I say hear, I mean, that's how I interpret the energy. I make words in my mind's eye. I hear it. Same thing with the mediumship. When I talk to people on the other side and I hear them, I'm interpreting the energy that way. And channeling is a little different because you connect on a different level where they actually come through and speak through you rather than you just saying the words that you're hearing. So I've been channeling pretty regularly for about a year now.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Mhm.
Now, the mediumship, do people come to you and say, hey, listen, I want to talk to my dead,
Mhm.
whatever?
Yeah.
And are
I don't
you
do that.
always able to go ahead?
I'm not, I don't do it as often because there is a very emotional part of that I do it if someone comes to me, a client comes to me and they're like, man, I have this loved one. I really want to connect with them. I'll offer to do like a written message for them. But if they really want to talk to them, I will do it for people. But it's kind of a case by case basis. I do it for friends and loved ones, but it does take an emotional toll on you, especially being an empath. So I don't do it as often in that trans channeling kind of way where I let them speak through me because there's a lot of risks involved. But I'm sure over time, if I practiced it more, I would probably get easier
Right.
um, with protecting myself and all that. But I have so many other things going on that just isn't one of my primary focuses right now.
Now, as far as the channeling and even the mediumship goes, are you um, seeing like different, like a trend or a pattern in some of the information that comes across, or is it just kind of all over the place?
Well, I mean, it depends on the intention that you set and who you talk to, what kind of information you're looking for. One thing I have noticed is that a lot of the people who channel over this last year, a lot of people who are not related, who might not know each other, this is just from me doing research, we're all getting a lot of the same information, especially about the ascension, about what's happening with humanity right now, where the world is headed, and some of the things that are happening right now. So it's interesting to see how similar the information we get is between all of these different resources. But for me personally, I do a lot of like gods and goddesses, the Galactic Council, my higher self, who's actually an Egyptian goddess as well. Um, I've channeled Cleopatra. I've channeled a crew member of Three Eye Atlas a few times. So it just kind of depends on who you want to talk to and what you want to ask them.
Okay. Can I put you on the spot and ask you to slip into that channeling space and see if there's anything for me or for our whoever's going to end up watching this in the future? Anything with that? Is that an appropriate thing to ask? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. Is there anybody specific that you want to talk to? Now I'm putting you on the spot.
No, there isn't. I don't normally. No.
Okay.
Um, I let's just say I'm wide open. I'm wide open, and I think it'll just be fascinating to see, who's there and who wants to come forth. I don't have channeling experiences personally. I feel like I channel source,
Mhm.
in the work that I do outside of the podcast and everything, and the healing work and everything like that as a healing practitioner. I feel that I connect with different energies. And then in the psychedelic realm, of course, who knows what all is going on there. But I've never had a bad experience in that realm. And the ones that come forth are always, like majorly benevolent and just here to be helping us and very giving and things like that. So but I think this is going to be fun.
Sure. Okay. So you've had channeling experiences before then, you know how this whole interview type process works?
Yeah, I kind of. I mean, do you want to? I don't want to screw anything up. Do you want to give me
Oh no,
some
you're fine.
pointers? I won't.
Um, we'll just play it by ear and see what happens.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So basically, when I go into channel, I just set the intention for whoever's in the highest and best good for all. That way, we stay away from low vibrational energies. We get our vibration going. Well, hello. How are you?
Very good. Who are we speaking with?
My name is Satesh. I am this vessel's higher self. I'm also an Egyptian goddess that people might be familiar with, one of the lesser known goddesses, but still valid.
And what is it that you feel would be good to share with us that would serve our highest and best?
Sure. So I don't know how familiar you are with the ascension and the things that are going on, but we know that many people feel like the world is falling apart, that things are getting dark, and that there is no light at the end of the tunnel right now. But we are here to share with you that things are getting better, even though they don't seem like it. There are many things happening in the background behind the scenes that are working to improve your social structures, your government, the way things will be going in your world for this next year. And we say that 2026 is going to be such a very high energy year. There's going to be so much happening that we ask you to buckle up, buttercup, as they say.
So, what can we do, those of us, myself, and whoever else in the future listens to this, what can we do to help the process, but then also to be prepared for whatever's coming along?
Well, as the year is changing, you will hear a lot of the people who are into astrology talk about this, that we are transferring from the year of the snake to the year of the fire horse. So, what that means is, well, it means many things, but the most important is that things that no longer serve you, things that are not aligned with your path, your purpose, your choices that you made before you reincarnated here, are going to start falling away, or they are going to get rather painful. They are going to not be fun anymore. They are going to cause problems because they need to be left. They need to be left in 2025. They need to be dropped from your purview and your reality because 2026 has so much in store, so much good things. It is now time for action. It is time for you to live in alignment with your purpose. It is time for you to do your inner work, your healing, and to figure out what you want your life to look like and how you can be of service to others.
Beautiful. And just in general, any particular other perspectives? Or I mean, I get that before it gets to a smooth ride, it's going to be a bumpy ride, and so that can catch people off guard. Anything that we can do specifically to mitigate that for ourselves and our loved ones?
Yes, of course. As the saying goes, where your attention goes, energy flows. So it is difficult, but it is imperative to not feed your energy into these terrible things that are happening, these things are perpetuating the separation and the division that has been placed between the people. It is time to forget about duality, about separation, and to all feel and remember that you are all one people. It does not matter what you look like, what color you are, where you live, where you're from, what your family is like. It does not matter. We are all one, and we need to rise up and we need to unite, and we need to focus our attention and our energy on the things that are positive. And that light, that high energy, that high vibration will help to get rid of that darkness, to bring it to light and to transmute it and alchemize it. And that will help these things that are happening in the background to help to happen much faster.
Excellent. Excellent. Anything else you have for us before we thank you and let you go back to where you came from?
Each and every one of you, never forget that you are loved beyond measure. You are supported, you are guided by many forces that you cannot see, and you never, ever walk this path alone. And we love you.
I want to thank you for making your presence known to us and sharing with us and sharing your energy with us. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. There you go.
Well, that was sweet. So how does that feel for you when you go into that state and you're getting the messages? I've seen some channels who seem like they're not at all in their bodies, when it's happening. And I've seen some that don't even really remember what they've said. They just kind of almost an energetic of moving out of the way while this other energy comes in. How does it work for you?
For me, I am very present. I am very aware. I had to teach myself as I was practicing this to kind of get myself out of the way. So I visualize in my mind this princess chair, and I let my mind, my ego, whatever you want to call it, sit in the princess chair and just kind of set back, and let this energy come through and talk. But I'm very aware of them being there. I feel their energy through my body, feel their vibration. And I sometimes I would start thinking about other things and just let them talk. But but usually, and sometimes I open my eyes because looking out the window helps because it distracts me from interfering, especially when I first started doing it for practice and stuff. But I'm very aware. I'm there. I just kind of, my partner likes to use the analogy of driving a car. So normally I'm driving the car, I'm in the driver's seat, but when they channel, I move over to the passenger seat, they get in. So I'm still there. I'm just not in control of, what's coming out of my mouth. So, yeah.
Now, do you experience them every day, or is it just for work, air quotes, or how does it happen for you like that?
So I do it for work, obviously, if that's part of what's necessary. But my partner and I channel once a day. He channels in the morning, I channel in the afternoon because the channel evolves. You can talk to different people. I also channel from my YouTube channel, for my podcast, for some sleep stories and things that I do. So it's good to practice and kind of see what happens, especially as you raise your vibration, you can access more energies that are at a different level, because it's very interesting to talk to people who are we use an elevator reference, so it's for the dimensions. So speaking to someone from like the fourth or fifth dimension is a very different experience than speaking to someone who's on like the eighth or ninth. You get very different answers to the same question. They get more philosophical, they get more I don't know, it's just a very different perspective. So as you raise your vibration, as you go through the journey, as you do the healing, as your perspectives about the world change and how things happen, it kind of helps adjust your channel and how you use it and who you talk to. So it's good to do that. We do it every day.
Well, that's pretty cool. Who is your partner's sort of default channel? I take it like default channel, the one that normally comes through, is the one that we just experienced for you. Who is it for your partner, or tell me how it works?
Um, that my higher self doesn't come through very often, so that you were lucky. You got graced by her presence.
Nice.
She's something else. But I usually have to set intentions about who comes through, and I don't know if anybody that I actually channel comes through super often, but my partner, he channels these beings called the elders, which are one of his groups of guides, but they're also guides who are here to help humanity with the ascension. So we host a group meditation every week. They come through a lot. They have taught us how to do this energy exercise when you're learning to flow energy through your vessel, which is on my YouTube channel as well. I can give you a link for that.
Mm-hmm.
But they are here to help. They help people get connected with their guides. They help people learn how to flow energy and kind of get them rolling in that like beginning process to kind of get them, started in the right direction.
Oh,
But
that's
they've
awesome.
been coming through since the beginning.
Well, I find it all fascinating. I appreciate you allowing us to ask you to go into that state and providing that experience for us. Now, you are also a spiritual empowerment coach. What's it
Yeah.
mean? How do you do it? And what results do your clients get?
Okay. So as I mentioned, I went down these rabbit holes. I was searching at 2 in the morning on Google, like what is a root chakra? What is, how do you, what's manifestation? All of these things. So I was learning initially how to become a medium, and it took me down into all these different directions. And I don't want to say I wasted time because I learned a lot, but it would have been much easier if I had this foundation in the beginning that kind of taught me the basics. So what I did is I created a program that teaches you all of those basics, and it's the seven major chakras, but it's also mindfulness, gratitude, self-love, compassion, and certain things that build upon raising your vibration and learning how to love yourself and to build up to that, speaking to spirit, speaking to your guides, and then ultimately to manifesting the life that you want. So I do have that major program. That's my signature program. um, but I also do one-on-one coaching to kind of help people figure out where their blocks are, if there's something specific they want to work on that maybe inner child healing isn't right for, or they don't want to take this whole program and they just kind of want to chat and figure out kind of where to go next. I do offer that as well.
Okay. Give us some examples in from any of the areas: energy healing, channeling, spiritual empowerment coaching. Give us some stories, if you would be so good, of what some of your clients have experienced, how it's changed their life, how it's expanded them in areas they wanted to be expanded, or whatever you want.
Sure. So I had a client recently who went through some trauma, but she wasn't 100% sure what the trigger was, but she was having an issue with feeling emotions, where she was going through these life experiences where before she would have been like, wow, I'm really joyful or really sad or something, and those emotions just kind of stopped. So we had to go through, we had to work back and figure out what those triggers were, why they happened, and get them to come back on. And it's very similar to like exposure therapy for PTSD, but for your emotions. So you're like, okay, I know that my guides are here and they're helping me. So it's like, okay, I don't want to go into a state of fear or anxiety. So I'm going to say, instead of waiting for a situation where I might experience XYZ emotion, I'm going to say, okay, guides, I want to feel this emotion in a safe, controlled environment. Let's feel that energy and kind of get myself acclimated to that again. And it helps get over that fear that your body goes into that kind of shuts the emotions off as a defense mechanism. So that's one experience that I had recently. Who else? I've had people who one lady I just was talking to, a friend of mine. I was helping her. She was having a really hard time with one of her past lives. So we worked through, and it was very similar to inner child healing, but it was just going into a meditative trance going back to that lifetime, seeing what happened and figuring out why these things that are happening to her in this lifetime, these irrational fears are a big one. Um, Pain is another one that sometimes, like, if you're having chronic pain in your side and you're like, I've never done anything to my side, it could be from a past life, and you could be carrying that energy over. So we go through and we help people kind of figure out what that is and then work through it. Um, Pain itself, I've had people where I actually go through in channel and talk to the pain and figure out why it's there. A lot of it is life lessons or something that you need to know that they're there to teach you. And I mean, there's so many different ways to go through it, but everybody says that it's very helpful and you can see it almost instantly how it changes, whether it's the pain or the emotional responses or whatever. But when you actually go back and find the root of the problem and the cause and work through that rather than just the symptoms, it's pretty fast. um, See fast results with that, much faster than therapy.
Right. Excellent. I've had some amazing experiences of my own with energy healers, and then um, experiences that I have facilitated for others. I think that it's really, I mean, it seems like it's the time right now for people to step into their gifts and share them and put them out there. What will we find on your YouTube channel, which the link will be in the description of this conversation? But what will we find there? Will there be some practical things where someone can go and watch it and be like, oh wow, that's exactly what I needed? Or what kind of stuff are you putting out?
So there's channeled sessions on there, just channeled information from different beings. There's group meditations on there that we've done that like I said, we host one every week. So I'll record them. If they're not too personal, I'll record them and put them on there. I also do sleep hypnosis and guided sleep meditations, adult sleep stories. Those are on there. And I channel in those too. So they're a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to be putting light language sessions on there soon too. So that's going to be something new to look forward to this year. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And that exercise that I was talking about learning how to flow energy, that's on there. So there's some practical, there's some guided information, some hypnosis. There's a little bit of, quite a bit going on in there.
Fabulous. Well, I look forward to checking that out. Now, are you finding now, kind of going back to, I was saying before I asked the question, if you were getting similar messages and things like that, are you finding that the clients that are coming to you are having similar challenges, or is it just sort of across the board? What are you sensing out there?
It used to be very scattered and kind of all over the place. But as time has gone on, especially the last couple months, I have noticed a theme with a lot of the people who are kind of on the path already, that a lot of people are needing to release old emotional baggage. We've gone through so many different meditations and clearings and things for people who, whether it's from this lifetime or last lifetime, again, things that don't serve you anymore, things that you're holding on to, whether it be past relationships and these energy cords that you have between people that no longer serve, or emotions like resentment, hatred, anger. Like forgiveness is a big thing. So letting go of that emotional baggage and learning to forgive both the other person and yourself has been a recurring theme for the past couple months.
Now, you're outside of Spokane. Are you in a small town? And how do people in your town relate to all of this? And are you, kind of a niche there, or are you finding more mainstream acceptance?
Well, I just moved here in April of last year. Uh, I live in a very small college town. It's college kids and farmers. That's pretty much it. If you blink, you'll miss it. They have been very welcoming and very nice to me. Nobody's asked for services, not even a tarot reading. Um, We did have someone just open a little crystal shop here that does tarot readings, but it's relatively new. I don't know how her business is yet, but it's not very conducive to that kind of um, those kind of services, that kind of mentality yet. Spokane, yes, there's more stuff going on there. A lot more people who are open and willing to talk about it and kind of, not think that you're a lunatic. So
Right.
that's good. Yeah. But
Haven't
this
been
little
run out of
town,
town on a rail yet.
no, not yet, not yet. So
Excellent. And so, talk to us about Ascension. We're obviously in the timeline. The pieces as it is are falling into place. Many more of us are seeing that now than in years past. What's your take on it, based on what you're connected to and what's the channelings you've done and everything like that?
yeah. So I personally, with the information that I've brought through and the things that I've pieced together, I think that this solar event that people talk about is going to happen this year. Not everyone agrees with me, and that's fine. People are on different timelines, people experience things differently, people hear their own truth. I'm only speaking my truth, that's all I can account for. I think it's going to happen this year. I think the energies that are coming through the sun, through Three Eye Atlas, through these galactic beings that are around us, are intensifying and intensifying and intensifying, and that is going to lead up to that, obviously. But I've been hearing a lot of people talk about how they feel very disconnected with their bodies, or for me, I feel like, especially since I got back from England, I feel like my life isn't really real. I came back into this town and it felt like I was driving through it again for the first time. It looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. And I feel like my life is kind of like a movie almost. And I've been hearing a lot of people say how the ascension symptoms have changed. And this is signs that you've gone from 3D to 4D, and now you're starting to become that bridge that's going to help people who maybe don't ascend with the solar flash, but come later. And there's some of us who are going to be that bridge between worlds. And I think that's kind of where a lot of us are being, prepared for right now. And I think it's like Satesh said, this year is going to happen so fast. So much is going to happen. People just need to be ready for that, I think.
For years, I had, the feeling that there would be a bifurcation, sort of a split. What's your take on that? And if we don't all go to the new earth, to, whatever anyone wants to call it, the golden age and whatnot, where do the rest of us go? What's your take on it?
So I was very curious about this at first because I'm like, okay, well, if there's people in your life, obviously that might not go. So are they going to die? Like, is there going to be a mass exodus? How are you not going to be there anymore? But then I realized that, the planet is surrounded by extraterrestrial beings that have been here watching us. We can't see them because they operate on a different frequency. So as this bifurcation happens, and there's the 3D and the 5D, where the world isn't splitting, it's one place, but there's two dimensions, if you will, operating in the same place. So you're going to have the people who are going to be stuck in the 3D who want to continue learning the life lessons the hard way and kind of stay in that comfort zone that they're in now, whether they want to admit that or not. And then the people who are going to go to the new earth, 5D, but they're all going to be still on the same earth. They just won't be able to see each other anymore because they'll be operating at such different frequencies. So until whatever happens on the 3D plane, I don't plan on staying there, so I don't really know. But whatever happens, and people either decide that they want to leave or stay, that will eventually die off. And then it will only be the new earth. And that will be, if you reincarnate, that will be the experience that you have. But it's going to take time. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process for sure. And even if you, like I said, you don't decide to go to New Earth during the flash or near there, you can always come later. And that's why we have these bridge keepers to kind of hold the light for people who might change their mind and want to come and experience that 5D life while they're still here. So there's still hope for everybody.
I love that. So, oh, it was just right on the tip of my tongue. Where did that go? You do sessions, obviously, in person. You do them over Zoom or some technology, so anyone can have the experience with you, and that's all that information is available on your website.
It is, yep. I have my website, divineascensionco.com, which I'll give you the link for. And you can navigate through there and look at the programs. Everything is online. My sessions are all online. If you're close to Spokane and want to do it in person, by all means, I'm open to that as well. But everything is set up to do it online. So you can kind of do it at your own pace, do it on your own schedule. And the time zone changes and everything. So it's a lot more conducive for everyone, I think. But yeah, if you would love to come in person and see my lovely face, that's fine too.
I see your lovely face right now.
Yeah.
So tell me, did I miss asking anything? Is there anything else you want to share? Any parting words? Anything at this point, just as we're nearing the end of our conversation?
The only thing I think that we didn't cover is my podcast, which I can give you a link for, and it's also on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning more about the Ascension or the path or this journey that we're going through, my podcast kind of takes those different concepts and explains them in a very simple way that people can understand. And there's also stories of hope and transformation and stuff on there too. But yeah, I think we covered just about everything. I could talk about this stuff for hours, but
I know, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly very appreciative of these two opportunities that I've had to have a conversation with you and connect about aspects of reality and outside of ordinary reality that are very near and dear to my heart. I appreciate your energy. You have a lovely energy. And so this has been really sweet. And I want to thank you very much for making yourself available. We'll have all the links to everything that people can reach out and connect with you on the description here. And we'll try and spread this out all over the place. And people will let you know that they heard you here. I appreciate you being a guest on the It's All Good show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you so much, Heather. Have a good night.
You too.